This series is sponsored by Strongflex, and this episode includes a sponsored segment. I love telling inspiring stories, and today's episode is the story of a man who had dreams and determination. Everything else, he earned it. What's up everyone, this is Dominik, welcome back to my channel. If you've been here with me before, thank you so much for walking this path with me, the path of the greatest drifters in the world. I truly hope that each and every one of you takes something valuable from these stories and feels inspired to take action after watching them. And for those of you who are here for the first time, thank you for clicking on this channel. Here I tell the stories of the best drifters in the world, and I promise you, it's worth staying with me. When I started working on today's story, I knew it would be about chasing dreams. But even I, knowing this story very well, didn't expect so many plot twists and so many incredible moments along the way. Our hero today is James Deane, an undisputed drifting legend, a man you can only describe using superlatives, someone you genuinely want to look up to. I visited him with a camera, and while he was showing us around his brand new, beautiful workshop, he told us the story of his entire career, the highs, the lows, and the moments that define who he is today. Before we begin, a quick note. In this series, I cooperate commercially with Strongflex, a manufacturer of polyurethane components, used in both road cars and race ones. Their products help improve vehicle handling and overall performance. Alright, let's begin. So sit back, get comfortable and listen closely, because we are just getting started. Hey, I'm Dominik and drifting is my life. I work in the Drift Masters, and after hours I'm either wrenching on my car or meeting drivers to tell their stories. Now I'm traveling across Europe to meet the best drifters out there. What's up guys, it's Dominik here, we are still in Ireland, and today I'm my good friend's garage, James "The Machine" Deane. You probably really good know this guy. Hello James.
What's up? Welcome. Welcome to our new workshop here in Ireland.
It looks amazing.
Thank you very much, yeah. We freshly built this year really. We finished it earlier on this year. And ever since then it's been really busy, so there's a lot going on here, but it's a pleasure to have you here. We obviously know each other a very long time.
Oh yeah, like 10 years?
10 years, yeah.
And it's funny because we met when you started driving for Budmat's drift team, and also
you were working on the radio, right?
Yes, before, and then same season and same time I'm starting also to work for Budmat drift team. So we together start in this place.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. Good memories, and it's a big pleasure for me to being here. Thank you for having me here.
It's a pleasure.
It's a really good place, and from the first steps it's really inspiring.
Thank you very much.
What I really like to be inspired.
Yeah. No, it's kind of crazy. You know, we're always kind of looking back at where we started and how far we've come, and this has been a very big step towards building for the future.
James Deane, a name that echoes across the drifting world. A legend who needs no introduction. The winningest drifter on the planet. Since 2008, he has walked a path carved by passion, precision, and relentless ambition. His rise began with the Pro Drift Ireland title and the Pro Drift European Series. From there, he claimed 4 Drift All-Stars championships, 3 Drift Masters titles, 4 Oman International Drift Championship crowns, and an astonishing 5 Formula Drift championships. His journey is the stuff of legends, an inspiring saga that began in a place where few would expect greatness.
My name is James Deane. I'm 5-time Formula Drift champion, multiple Drift Masters champion, and professional drift driver that competes all over the world.
How old are you now?
I am 34 years old.
Okay.
I started drifting when I was just before I turned 15. So next September, I'm going to be drifting 20 years.
Any special event are you planning in case of this occasion?
No, but now that you say it, maybe we'll have to organize something fun. I don't know. I didn't plan it, but that could be something to consider.
Okay, please everyone notice, idea was mine. Okay, James, please tell me how your drifting journey has started.
Yeah, so drifting for me started when I was about 10 years old. That's when the first ever drift event was in Ireland. My brother Mike went to that event in his BMW E30 3-5 Sport BMW. I was there just as his little helper and a fan of my brother, you know. Like, I used to love going to rallies with him and car cruises and anything car related I loved. So we went to this drift event, and when it was an event all about going sideways, I instantly fell in love with the sport. And to make it even better, my brother ended up winning that very first drift event in Ireland.
Okay.
So that was kind of, you know, I always knew that I wanted to compete in motorsport, but I wasn't sure it was going to be rally driving or autographs or something else. But as soon as I saw drifting, my mind was absolutely fully made up.
James welcomed us into his new workshop, a place where his latest visions take shape. Here, among the tools and the roar of engines, stand the legendary cars that have been with him since the very beginning of his career. This is where history lives, and where the future is being built.
I see all your legendary cars like this S14.
Yeah.
When we met, you've got planned to bring RX7 to Poland, but finally you finished with this car.
Yeah, exactly. So this we built in the off season of 2013.
Okay.
And I was planning to do Drift All-Stars, JDM All-Stars back then. And we noticed that the power of European cars was really increasing. And my RX7 at the time was SR20 powered. So I remember seeing Juha Rentonen's S14. He had Wisefab in the car, which was like one of the first really good cars with Wisefab and, you know, a 2JZ with over 600 horsepower. He had a dog box, rear mount radiator and things like that. So he was really kind of following the FD method of building a car, and there was obviously other creations of cars in Europe at the same time, all going a similar direction. So I knew the SR20 with, you know, 500 horsepower wasn't going to be enough for Drift All-Stars. So we started building this car, and it was really the first full-on pro-level build that we took on.
Mm-hmm. Because in those days, the RX7 was like more like semi-pro for you?
It was pro in Ireland, but, you know, it had SR20 2.2 stroker, which my brother Mike built, front mount radiator always. It had, you know, a 350Z transmission and standard diff, standard axles. And for the steering angle and things like that, we just modified it all ourselves. So It was really like basic car, you know. It was basically an RX7 with an SR20, coilovers and everything else modified. So that wasn't enough to cut it, you know. And then we built this, so it was our first full-on pro build, which I built along with my brothers, and even my nephew Chris helped me out as well, and he's working for me full-time here now, which is really cool. And yeah, over the years, this car went through a good few evolutions of just making small improvements. Like at the start, we built it with a 350Z gearbox. At my first event, where I actually met Peter Wiensek in Drift All-Stars in Wembley, or I think it was, no, Wembley. I don't know, it was in London anyway.
Yeah.
One of those events. So he was driving there, but my car had a 350Z transmission and I broke it 2 times. So we had the car on its side 2 times trying to repair the transmission, and I knew that knocked me out of the competition in I think my first battle. And I knew that if I wanted to take it seriously, we had to make an upgrade. Even though my budget was totally gone on building the car, I managed to get a loan of a few €1,000, and we imported basically a side shift G-force transmission from the States. So we put that into the car then, and the car was bulletproof, and basically went on to win Drift All-Stars that year and for the following 2 years. So 3 in a row winning Drift All-Stars with this car. And in between, we also won a championship IDC with this car, and it just kind of turned into probably my most successful car that I've ever had.
How often in your career you are putting everything and even more just to be on your way of drift driver?
Yeah, so when we built this car, that's one example of being totally out of budget and knowing that we had to take a chance to continue or to be more successful. So I was very lucky where a family friend of mine, when we did build this car, my budget was absolutely gone, even though we had to do a full season ahead. My hopes were that, prize money was going to help me get through the season and pay for everything. And basically, long story short, we broke the 350Z transmission. I knew that I had to upgrade, or else we'd be breaking these transmissions all the time. And then if you're breaking them all the time, you're going to have the price of an upgrade paid for anyway. We took the chance after the first round of Drift All-Stars to buy, it was basically like a G4 side shifter 4-speed dog box. And this cost quite a few quid, probably, I don't know, $6,000 or something by the time it was installed in the car. And only for, taking a chance, borrowing some money. Luckily it was a family friend, so it wasn't very stressful. We took that to move on to better things, and then the car was much better, and we ended up winning the championship that year. So it was a big upgrade. It was definitely the right decision, but it was multiple times throughout my career where we had to take a chance, and it even starts right from the very start. So I had enough money myself to buy my first drift car, which was a Ford Sierra, and luckily the car cost me like €200. So it was super cheap. We could do all the work ourselves, and I was lucky to have like older brothers that I could borrow some, like a seat or some of the basic things like a harness, borrow those kind of things. I was using tires from these silage pits from the cut grass. I was using tires, so old used tires that would hold air. I was just burning them off the back. But I soon got to the limits of that car, which was like 2 months after my first event. I realized, okay, I'm already at the max of the Ford Sierra. So then I went looking online, and I managed to find a Nissan Silvia S14, and the car was €4,000. I sold the Sierra, so I had €1,000 myself. My brother Mike gave me another €1,000. My brother Ken gave me another €1,000, and then the guy Evenflow, you might know him from the videos and stuff I do. Yeah. We know him that long, and he used to be a stonemason, and he gave me another €1,000 to put a sticker on the car called Rhino Rocks. Okay. And his nickname is Rhino, and he does stonework, so rocks. Okay. So Rhino Rocks, and so that was some support which I had from the start, and I never ever paid them back for that €3,000 basically, but probably have in other ways. But we help each other out, especially nowadays that we're all doing pretty good at all the things that we're at. We always just help each other out, and there's no stress about the small details. Then I guess another time when it really started to get hard was just before we built the RX7 for the first time. So we shipped the car to the Red Bull World Drift Championships. Formula Drift covered the cost of shipping, but then we never realized the cost of actually doing an event in the United States. So we had a fundraiser to try to raise funds to cover our flights and accommodation and stuff like that, and that worked out really good. We had probably raised like €10,000 to put towards the event, because we just didn't have the money. Like, I didn't have the money. I was just after leaving school and getting a job earning like 200 euros a week. And my family didn't have the money to make that kind of, take that chance on something. So yeah, we did the fundraiser, raised 10,000, and then I crashed the car. I had borrowed parts on the car, so I had to pay for some of the parts that I damaged. And at the end, it probably cost me over 20,000 euros, and I was like 17 or something like that. So then I had to borrow more money in an emergency from like an uncle and one of my brothers. And then my other brother helped me build this. So I was like, oh my God, I'm not even, 17 years old, and I'm already have like 20,000 euros in debt, you know? And like, shit, what do I do? So anyway, I basically just worked super hard at drifting, and we had some good success with this car. And it started to kind of get to new levels where I was making more money. I was teaching people how to drift. I was working a job, selling car parts, and had prize money from events too. So starting to do better. Then we decided to build this car. Again, that gets to my story I told a second ago, out of budget again. But then we started having really good success in this car. So I had a couple of good years in a row where budgets were getting a bit better. Falcon tire support was really, really helpful. So I managed to clear off those debts that I had. And I would say that was probably in 2015. So from 2008 to 2015, like, I had this weight on my shoulders, but I'll never forget the day that I paid off the last stuff and I was free.
Okay.
And from that point on, I've been able to do every next step of my career without borrowing money. So I'm very lucky and fortunate to have got to that position, but there was a number of years where I was very worried.
Mm-hmm. What was the hardest moment for you in your whole career? Or maybe you have even sometimes thinking to give up?
Yeah, I remember, maybe it was 2010, 2011. It was kind of the time I was driving with low brain drifters. And after low brain, it was like, okay, what's next? How do I make it better? How do I make it bigger? And, you know, the cost of drifting was getting really serious. We managed to win Drift All-Stars with the low brain car in 2011. And in 2012, I wanted to try to go back to Drift All-Stars. But to do it with the RX7, the car wasn't good enough. I didn't have the budget to build this car. And I was like, what do? I don't know what to do. I was basically like starting from the start again, because some of the sponsors that I had built up before low brain were gone after low brain because I was driving for a different team. So it was like a challenging moment, and I remember even thinking maybe my future of drifting is just driving for other teams and it not costing me money, because I think it was the start of 2012, we had a really unlucky spell with this car where I blew like 4 engines in a row, and they were all like new pistons, new blocks, like not new, but like fresh ones that were in good conditions. And obviously new pistons, machine work, retuning, and then bang, blow it up. I'm like, oh my God. Then it's new oil pump, new bearings, new cranks, new rods, new pistons, again in a different new block, another new head because the whole thing was melted. And that happened a few times. I'm like, I can't keep doing this. So there was a part of me thinking about just driving for a team, arrive and drive for free, and I'd be happy to just compete in drifting. But I'm glad I didn't give up, because I always had the dream of doing it myself with my own cars and trying to build my stuff up, you know, trying to build like this car, make it as good as it can be, trying to build like a selection of parts up, have my own van, have my own trailer, slowly develop into having my first workshop, and now my second, and having multiple cars, I'm glad I didn't give up.
In Drift Masters until 2024, you were using this S14.9, which we see on the background. And please tell me why you decided to build a second S14, not to stay with this OG classic S14.
Yeah, so this car was always the Falcon car, and when I kind of stopped using it after the last event I ever did, competition, was OADC 2020.
Okay. Yeah.
So after that, it was always a Falcon car, and we had the opportunity to compete in RDS, and we're talking about different options, and we decided to build a new car for that, not to use one of my old cars and take it out of Falcon livery to go into something new. So I always wanted to keep this car as a Falcon car. So that led us to coming up with building the S14.9. So we knew we could make some improvements to the chassis, try to build it a little bit lighter, try to move a few things around, and just start off fresh. So that's the main reason we built that car. So we used that for RDS, and then we used it for 2 seasons in Drift Masters after that. So it's kind of cool, you know what I mean? Like, that car now can already tell a lot of stories too, has had multiple event wins in RDS and in Drift Masters. It's a good machine, and obviously in this year alone, Simon Olsen drove it, Manoa drove it in Poland, and we're also have some plans for it for next year. So it's cool.
Okay.
It's cool. Yeah.
Okay. Can I, as a normal person who wants to compete, let's say in some drift event, come to you and say, "Hey James, I want to rent a car from you"?
Yeah, so not really, you know, it's kind of something that if I know somebody is a top level driver in the world and they want to come to a drift event, it is a potential option if the car isn't hired already, and if we can make it make sense to where we're not too busy with other things. I'd like to try to help out where I can. And the good news about, we rented it out twice, that was our first experience about doing something like that so far, and both drivers absolutely loved the car. Like Manoa said, it felt like driving a simulator. He said the car was so good. So even to get that feedback as, you know, someone who builds cars, and like between all of us here, the passion that we have to make the cars as good as we can, that's a very proud moment when you get feedback like that from another driver. So that was a big cool moment for me, and same goes for Simon when he drove it. Even though he's used to driving left-hand drive, he absolutely loved it and he did really well. So that's kind of cool, and yeah, we plan to do a bit more of that in the future. So let's see what happens in 26. There's nothing confirmed yet, but there is a chance that we'll be running 2 cars.
It's time for a short break.
Hey, if you like this video, just smash up the thumbs up button and don't forget to subscribe this channel with notification bell. Currently, I'm working on the new video and you won't want to miss that. So take care guys and have fun.
The short break has ended.
When you get idea or get dream of being a professional driver, like, you know, do it as a normally job,
Yeah. As soon as I realized it was a thing. So I think the first moments I'd have to say was probably like watching Darren McNamara driving for Falcon Tire in America. And he was a ride and drive driver. So they built a car, they booked his flights, and they paid him, and paid him quite well. So as soon as I realized, shit, he's able to do that. He's like, this is his job. He was coming home to do like fun stuff, fun projects, like building cars that he wanted to build, and slowly building his business that's now Group D. He was kind of the one that showed me it's possible, and then that was my main focus, that was my goal, and we managed to definitely make it happen.
Yeah, and okay. And do you remember when you was able to leave the normal job from 9 to 5?
Yeah, my last 9 to 5 job was in 2012.
Okay.
So from 2013, it was actually when this car first went in Falcon Tire livery. I left my last job and I said, right, let's figure it out. So that was basically competing in a couple of Falcon drift demos at the Nürburgring and in Bodensee, which is near Austria, I think. Competing in the full Irish Drift Championship and also setting up, doing alignments for other competitors' cars, charging some money for that, and also teaching people how to drift. So between all those things, I was doing it on my own. And that off season, we built this car. And then things just started moving step by step, faster and faster.
As we walked through James's garage, we got a rare close-up look at his Eurofighter, the BMW E92, engineered by HGK Racing. When it first hit the scene, it was nothing short of a supercar among drift machines.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Eurofighter was car which you were using, let's say, the shortest period of time in professional competition. Am I right?
Yeah, so we used it in 2019. That's when we built the car, and we actually managed to just win Drift Masters with this car. And then COVID happened in 2020, so we were planning to do the full championship during that year, but unfortunately, there was only one round in Drift Masters, King of Riga, and we also won that, battling Peter in the final with the Eurofighter. So that was the plan, to do those full seasons. And then obviously the world kind of changed with things happening. Nobody knew what was going to happen next. And then we had the opportunity to compete in RDS. And I knew that, you know, it wasn't an option for Falcon to be my title sponsor to drive there. So I didn't want to take this car out of Falcon livery. I didn't want to take the S14 out of Falcon livery. So we decided to build this S14.9. So that's the main reason this didn't have a longer life in pro competition, but we had it working super well. Like in 2020, this car was serious, and it still is. Like, it's an unbelievable competitive car. But the reason I don't use it is because in Drift Masters now, with basically R-rated tires, we cannot be competitive enough to win events with like a Falcon tire, because they're harder tread wear, they're more similar to like a FD competition level tire, but the rules in Drift Masters are kind of more open, where you can run as soft as you want. So Falcon don't have any options in that soft, sticky size. And I didn't want to just, you know, Falcon helped me build this car, and I didn't want to just, you know, okay, the tires aren't up to spec right now compared to what the series is allowing Inter, and I didn't want to just put somebody else's livery on it and you know, buy another tire.
Really gentleman thing.
Yeah,
really
so
nice.
like that's another reason why we built this. And you know, this car I built by myself, obviously with my team and our partners, but it was built to, it can go in any livery, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
You know, Falcon didn't support me to build this car,
Yeah.
so that's what I love about this car. It's kind of open, it can do whatever it needs to do. So that was built just for, I have very sentimental value with all of my cars. They're almost like my kids. Yeah.
And he's impressed in how good condition all these cars are. They are clean, like straight from the saloon. Here, honestly, yeah, this one,
but it is meant, it's perfect.
But still, for a car who was competing, which was competing like a few weeks ago, it's still mint condition, and the rest of the cars, I feel like in the museum, you know. I like the style, they are really clean. In every detail is on its place. It's really nice. I have last question about the Eurofighter. In those days, I remember when you started using Eurofighter, the Eurofighter was like everyone was in drifting world was dreaming about this car. Everyone was talking. It was like, I don't know, the highest hypercar luxury drift car. And how you can compare the Eurofighter E92 to, let's say, your beloved S chassis?
I would say they are quite close. The biggest thing is the steering. The steering doesn't work in the same way because as BMW steering, so a lot of KPI in the front knuckle design. So that kind of adds some unique feelings. And also the rear suspension isn't as simple to adjust as an S chassis. So if you bang the back of this car, it's a little bit more complicated to get everything perfect at the track compared to when you hit the back of an S chassis. But in general, when you have the car set up right, and like what we developed it between 2019 and 2020, moved some weight around, lost some weight, this car felt unreal. Like extremely competitive. I would say it has a bit more forward grip than an S chassis. The steering works, I would say, 9 out of 10 comparing to a perfect S chassis. So we got it really close. It's fast, it's aggressive, and I love how it looks. Like it's a cool looking car still. And yeah, like I've been very lucky to be able to use this car at multiple drift demos since then. So it's basically like probably potentially my favorite Falcon drift demo car.
Oh, nice, nice. It's really nice.
It's hard to say because obviously I love the S14 and the RX7 too, so we can't pick favorites really.
Yeah, I get you.
But it's the most expensive, I guess.
Okay. And when we can expect to see you behind the wheel of this car in the short future, or is just like queen of the garage so far?
When did I drive it last? Oh, I drove it at LZ World Tour in England, which was cool a few weeks ago, and also in Ireland the next day, along with the RX7 and the S14, so that was fun. Don't have any plans for next time, but it's going to be sometime next year. I don't think, we're out of time this year. So.
Please tell me, during our way to Ford Mustang, if someone came here, like, I don't know, the richest man in the world, and tell you, hey James, I give you all money you want just to please.
Well, if he's the richest man in the world, and he'll give me all the money he wants.
And just please sell me one of the cars. You will sell or no?
If he's the richest man in the world and he'll give me all the money I need, I would think about selling one for sure.
Okay, which one?
That's a hard one.
Okay.
Probably the S14.9.
Okay.
Even though that is the most developed S chassis we have, I would probably sell that one first.
Okay.
Because my career was already moving really good when we built this car, where every other car was like a part of my story, getting to that point.
So let's say this car is, in case of sentimental wise, it's for you
the least?
Yeah,
potentially.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I'd rather, even though this S14 is better than the Falcon S14, I would sell this one first.
Okay. And then we have...
I will never sell that car. Or I'll never sell the RX7. I don't think I'll ever sell the Eurofighter. And hopefully I'll never sell the Mustang because it's unique.
What was the most important break point in your whole career?
In my opinion, most important break point, I think there's a few, but honestly, like, it always has to come back to like the American dream, because that's what I had from a very young age. And it has to be from like 2015 and 2016 when myself and Peter and David, we all got like closer as a team and having really fun times. And I'll never forget the conversation in 2016 between myself and Peter, like where he was telling me he's gonna compete in Formula Drift. And I was like so happy for him, you know? And I'm like, oh, are you going there on your own, or what's your plans? And he's like, no, I think it'll be a 2-car team. And he basically told me that night that his dream would be to have me as his teammate. And I was like, oh shit, really?
Okay.
Like, how do we make this happen? Like, I'm all in. Like, I'll help wherever I can. I have contacts over there. I can help maybe with tires, I can help with this, I can help with that. And we just started talking, and suddenly, probably 5 weeks later, we're buying an S15, and I'm building one here in Ireland. He's building the sister car in Poland. I'm talking to Gello, team manager in Poland every single day, and we're just collaborating on building 2 cars from 2 different sides of Europe, the exact same, to go to the one championship. So the whole Worthouse journey was probably a big breaking point for me, because it gave me the opportunity to go back to Formula Drift with a proper car, a proper team, and go to our first event, qualify second, and win the event. Was like still the best event.
And then 3 championships in a row.
Life. 3 championships in a row. and having the best times with like the best teammate. Like Peter is a legend. He's still a great friend of mine, and still, you know, when I look forward to the future, I still feel like we have unfinished business together. So hopefully in the future, even if it's like a retirement year, that we can at least join forces and have some fun even for the fans, because the fans gave us so much support. And yeah, we had the best times.
And thousands of people, at least 1,000, waiting for that.
Yeah. We'll just have to make it happen, even if it's just one fun event somewhere random.
Yeah, for sure.
If we're talking about the USA, let's take a look at a real American drift car. One that's also hugely popular in Europe.
And we have Mustang.
And we have Mustang, the latest build. This car, basically, when we finished building this workshop in February, the day we got to this point with the workshop, this arrived.
Okay.
So literally, container arrived, we dropped everything, went out, unloaded the container. This was just a bare chassis. We rolled it into this corner and instantly started cutting it up and taking all the unnecessary weight out of it. And we built this car from the day it arrived in the container, from it being tuned on the dyno, was exactly 5 weeks to the day. And then the last week was installing the wrap, doing setup, getting spares together, and also one quick test. So that's all we had before Drift Masters started. Okay. So literally, we've been developing this car all season long in front of sold-out Drift Masters events. And it's been a challenge, but I would say a good one. You know, it's always good to challenge yourself, and I feel like we definitely learned a lot over the season with this car. With every event we went to, we made quite a few improvements. So I'm excited now. Basically, we have so much more time ahead of Drift Masters in 26 that we should be able to get a little bit of testing in the new year and make some small changes that we never got to try. Maybe lose another small bit of weight out of the car, and I feel like we'll be a lot more competitive in 26. That's the plan.
When you build this car, have you met any problems because this is an American car engine which is not common here in Europe? Did you met any problems with, let's say, tune it or something else?
The biggest thing is obviously, so the engine is extremely rare. It's a Ford Racing Rouge Yates RY45, 455 cubic inch engine. It's extremely rare, it's extremely expensive. And when we were tuning it, you know, we were like, we can't mess this up, because you don't get a second chance, you know what I mean? If you blow this engine up, you're gonna feel it for a long time. So obviously we're a bit nervous. We didn't push it as hard as we pushed the FD car. For the first season, we just we used like half the shot of nitrous. So 150 shot of nitrous versus 300 shot in FD. For Riga, we brought it up to 200. But I think next year we're going to be 250 from the start. So definitely push the power a bit more. And other than that, not really. It was just like learning how to work with the car, learning the maintenance, learning the fastest ways around, fixing something. But after a couple of events, we were fully up to speed, and I felt like we had a very competitive package. Like we still finished, we were fighting for third place in the championship in Drift Masters. At the end, we ended up finishing 5th, and the points were really close. So I still think, I consider that a good result with a brand new car with no testing. Yes, it is the same as the FD car in many ways, but because of this tire for Drift Masters, it feels way different. So the suspension setup is different, the alignment is different, the springs are different, the anti-roll bars are different, the weight of the car, the balance of the car is different. So they don't feel alike. Whereas with the FD car, it's on the same tire for, I think RTR are using that tire for 6 seasons now. And they have the car developed fully. They know every track, they know what wheel speed we need. We had to learn all of that as we're going this year. So I'm happy and proud of our accomplishments considering the lack of testing and how different the car is.
Because those two Mustangs, this one European and your American one, as you mentioned before, they are totally different in case of some setups, etc.
Exactly. Yeah.
And did you have any problems when you, let's say, coming back from USA to Europe and back to, you know, get fit and get used to with the car?
Not really, because the cars are so similar. Honestly, the biggest thing that I noticed was probably the different feeling in the seat, which is a very small thing. But like when you're 1 week in one and the next week in the other, you notice the different angle, you notice slightly different small things. But obviously we have a lot more grip in the front of this car versus the FD car, things like that. When you're even going to the burnout box, you notice. But I feel like next year we're able to replicate some of those things to have them even closer. So yeah, no, it's been fun, and you have to think, you know, every other year I was jumping from the FD Mustang to maybe the RX7 next weekend, or the Eurofighter, or the S14.9. So no matter what, one Mustang to another Mustang is going to be a lot closer than jumping from Mustang to S-chassis.
So, key of the secret, just the seat time.
Yeah, seat time and just finding the right setup, because we weren't able to try crazy new things when you only have a few laps before qualifying. Like, we were just trying to find a consistent setup that I knew that I was comfortable driving, and that gave us the best chance in that moment to qualify as good as we could. But we qualified, I think we're in 4 showdowns in the season, so that was good. You know, qualified first in this car twice. So yeah, I have big hopes for next year.
Is this engine are using in the other disciplines of motorsport, or only it's dedicated for drifting?
So no, it's used in other forms of motorsport too. So this, as I said, it's an RY45. Mostly this is used for basically a form of the, not a trophy truck, but like sprint cars. You know, the sprint cars that they push from behind, they fire up and they're doing the dirt oval racing. Some people run them using that. They're also used in some of the like trophy truck, off-road dirt driving. But basically the heads are very similar to the current NASCAR FR9 heads that they're using, but the block is basically higher displacement. So NASCAR is in the 300s and something cubic inch, where this is 455. So almost 7.5 litre V8, and it revs to 9,000 RPM. And so it is pretty impressive that you can rev this to 9,000, being 7.5 litre, and it keeps everything inside the block. Like, it doesn't just explode.
Yeah, and the voice of this engine, the sound of this engine is amazing.
Yeah,
and how many horsepower? If we can say, of course.
No, we can. It's just, let me think. It's about 850 NA and 150 shot of nitrous. So it's close to 1,000.
So if
like,
you...
Close to 1,000 this year.
Okay.
Next year, I hope it's closer to, hopefully close to 1,100.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the plan.
And how many kilograms?
With me, the car is 1,400.
Okay. For that big car, it's not that much.
Not crazy, but what we're competing against, most people are like 1,200, 1,250. So to be another 150 kilos over is still a little disadvantage.
Yeah. And I didn't ask about the Newton meters. How much torque it is?
Probably around 900 Newton meters.
So can we say that it's even less than a typical GZ?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. That's why we run 300 shot of nitrous in America.
Okay.
But these engines are built in America, and if we mess it up, you're out, you know?
Yeah.
So we were trying to be gentle the first year, and now that we've had one season like reliable with no big problems, we're gonna push it harder for next year.
Okay. Can we look inside of the car? What we have there? Ladies and gentlemen, we are in James Deane's office.
Yeah, my 2025 and 2026 office. So, as you can see, typical drift car, full cage, everything stripped out. We really focused on taking out as much stuff as possible in this car, saving weight wherever we could. So in terms of the chassis itself, there's nowhere else you can really save weight. Going into next year, we have to look at like some of the elements of the bodywork and maybe some metal work on the underside of the car, like subframes and suspension, things like that. But yeah, it's running full ECU master electronics, Samsonus RS90 sequential, HGK handbrake lever, and carbon RTR dash, carbon Kevlar doors at the moment. Sometimes they're carbon Kevlar, sometimes carbon fiber. All the bodywork, quarters, roof is all carbon fiber. The bonnet's carbon fiber, the wings are carbon fiber. So it's quite an expensive body kit, expensive doors, a lot of carbon work in here. But it's a really tidy car. We have the radium fuel cell just under this cover here. Fuel is filled through the quarter window, an electric quarter window with the radium quick fill. So dry sump tank inside here. Little alloy door to save another bit of weight. Wiring loom by PT Motorsport Electrics, and Mikey painted the chassis, Mikey and Chris. And yeah, we managed to somehow build this car in 6 weeks.
Okay. Why you sometimes using the carbon fiber, sometimes carbon Kevlar?
Basically, RTR have been trying, so this is their first time going for carbon Kevlar. Usually it's carbon fiber, and we try carbon Kevlar because it's often known to be a bit more flexible and longer lasting than carbon fiber, a bit more firm, and if it gets contact, it can crack easier.
Okay.
So we tried carbon Kevlar in this car, and now it's a bit of a mix around the car under the wrap. What's carbon, what's Kevlar.
Is it the most expensive car in your career?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we say approximately how much cost Mustangs like this?
It's a lot.
Okay.
It's a lot. It's easily, I can say it's easily over 2 brand new S chassis.
Okay.
More than that.
Okay. Got you. Oh, it's a lot.
The engine alone is extremely expensive, and we have a spare.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's honestly insane.
Okay.
It's insane. Like I'm very lucky to have the partners, and the you know, working with Ford and RTR is like a dream for me, and to bring that to Europe is unbelievable. But like a lot of the parts to make this car what it is are very expensive. Even like the suspension, it's all billet aluminium stuff that's custom made by RTR and their engineers. By the time you have one kit manufactured, because they don't like sell lots of them, they don't have a huge line, so every kit is really expensive. So like there's no part of this car that's like, oh, well, they produce thousands of these doors, they produce thousands of these wings and body kits, so it makes the price small. Everything is just for like 4 cars that RTR have mainly. So that means the price is higher.
Over the moon,
Yeah.
Extremely exclusive and extremely, let's say, handmade.
Well, what I love about it is, firstly, especially in Drift Masters, it's nobody else has one. I don't think anybody else is going to have one anytime soon. It sounds insane. It's a brand new car, so this chassis is a 2025 chassis, and it's a full-on Drift Masters car. Obviously, Ford Performance or now Ford Racing are supporting us doing this journey in Europe, which is really cool. And it's just a big kind of milestone for my career to be working with a manufacturer. Like it's a dream.
So can we say that you are a manufacturer driver?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's
Yeah,
really
it's,
good.
it's amazing.
And good for the old drifting, you know?
Yeah. It's,
And we have a here nice view because here is the Mustang, your very last car.
Yeah.
Then your classic ones, and here your RX7. The body kit is some kind of custom or?
yeah, custom made. So we basically a few years ago, I think it was 2012, before 2013, we worked with Aerokit, a company in the UK, and they said they wanted to make something custom for me. So this is like the JD spec Aerokit for an RX7. So
Okay.
it's unique, it's different. I like the kind of, obviously that's like, the body kit's over 12 years old basically.
Okay.
But I love that it has different, elements with the diffuser, these spats, the side bits coming out from under the quarter panels and front wings, and the canards, the front splitter. It looks aggressive. And then with a BCL rear wing, which I love in loads of my cars, it's just got a really unique look to it.
And how many kilograms RX7 weighs?
I don't know with the four-rotor.
But it could be the lightest car in your garage or no?
Should be. It was with the SR20 for sure, but the four-rotor is heavier.
Heavier?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you changed for the four rotors like 5 years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This thing sounds
Yeah.
just unbelievable.
For sure. It's 26B, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's how many horsepower?
590.
Okay.
And somebody stole all the torque. There's none.
And this is like a show car for you, right?
Yeah, show fun car. Like when I built this car at the start, it had a blown rotary engine, and we didn't have the experience or the money at all to even consider putting a rotary back into it. So my brother helped me out, Mike, with getting the car and building an SR20 for it, because he was building SR20s, like selling them like hotcakes at the time, and we just managed to put one together quite affordable, chop up the firewall, get it all fitted, and got me into competition in 2009.
Okay.
So
okay.
I have that car.
That was the next car
That's
after
the
Sierra.
longest car I have.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had one S14 before this, and I won Pro Drift, the Irish Championship, and the European Championship in 2008 in this SR20. That's how basic drifting was back then. It was an SR20 S14 with a kind of a bolt-in roll cage. Maybe it had an RB25 transmission, standard LSD, just basic modified steering angle, like teen extra lock, basically. Set of coilovers, front mount intercooler, 360 horsepower, and we won the European Championship with that car and the Irish Championship the same year. So then they invited us to compete in the Red Bull World Drift Championship, and one of our sponsors at the time, Track Day Performance, obviously we're going to like Formula Drift, the Red Bull World Drift Championship. 360 horsepower was not going to be enough. So they decided to support me with fitting an RB26 into that S14. And my two brothers and Robbie from TDP all got stuck into the car and basically converted it from SR20 to RB26 in, I don't know, a week maybe. And tuned the car, we shipped it out there, and I qualified, and I won more time in top 32, and then the one more time I crashed. So that car was kind of wrecked, and then it was delayed getting back to Ireland. So that meant we needed to find a car, and the only car that we could access quite easily and affordably was actually an RX7 with blown rotary. So that's how that car started.
Okay. It's a really nice story.
Yeah.
And there we saw also your, let's say, training car Mustang.
Yeah.
It's a basic Mustang or some serious modification there?
It's pretty basic. So I bought this car it was crashed in England off Copart for, I think it was like £8,500.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like 2016 Mustang. So the front was knocked off it, like basic, no chassis damage. So I found another Mustang, the same color in Ireland. We bought the bonnet off it. It was crashed as well, the bonnet and the wings. So we gave it a facelift. Then the RTR Spec 5 body kit for the S550 Mustang. And Wisefab, we're in the middle of developing Wisefab kit for a Mustang. So it's on the Wisefab front and rear kit, BC coilovers and HP tuners kind of upgrade on the standard software ECU. So
it's around 500 horsepower?
I'd say max.
Okay.
And it's heavy. I think it's, so with me in it, it's almost 1,800 kilos.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, it's probably the heaviest drift car on the track.
Yeah, but it's really good. It's really fun.
Yeah, and any problems with the engine, because it's not common vehicle in the
The
drifting.
Coyote engine, the Coyote V8 is actually really good.
Okay. It's 5 liter, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
5 liter, double overhead cam, like more modern engine, like similar to like a BMW V8-ish, kind of similar in many ways, but 5 liter instead of, for example, the 4 liter S65. It's very good, and I'm very curious to play with that more and maybe build an engine for it. And I don't know, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
But they're very buildable. Like, I watch some of them drag racing in America, and they're making like 2,500 horsepower on the stock blocks, just with liners and even stock crankshaft. Just built engine, turbocharged, 2,500 horsepower, 10,000 RPM. So they're definitely an interesting engine.
Yeah, playground.
Yeah.
Playground.
Yeah.
In your opinion, where drifting will be in 10 years?
Drifting in 10 years, I would love to see it. Like, the ideal dream would be, imagine if you could have drifting, so for example, Drift Masters, being a world championship where it's not split just between different racetracks around the world, but it's like the stadium in Poland, maybe a stadium in LA, and Yas Marina, or, you know, and then the tracks in between, like high grade racetracks that are just top level, and you're getting between 30 to 50,000 people coming to every single event. Now that's a big thing, but I still believe that it's actually possible. So I'd love to see drifting get to that level. I would love for there, if it's a collaboration between FD and Drift Masters, or if one of them do it on their own, but there to be an actual proper official world championship. That would be sick. Because I know I've been lucky enough to win both Formula Drift and Drift Masters, even on the same year. So, but if there was just one championship that was literally the world championship, that would be sick. So hopefully that happens in the future.
And how about you? Do you have any idea for your future, or even any plans in next 5, 10 or 15 years?
Yeah, I just want to keep like growing with the sport. Like, I feel like the sport helps me and I help the sport. So if like all the drivers can keep doing that and just building it all up, like as the sport is growing, their profiles are growing too. And for me, I'd like to consider running like a team, doing it properly, have a second driver, and potentially even a third driver in the future. But yeah, as I'm getting older, maybe I'll start slowing down from the driving element, and then, you know, like trying to find the best driver to put in my seat. Like, that would be a cool goal for the future. But, you know, I'm only 34. I feel like I'll be still competing when I'm closer to 40, so I'm not done yet. Still want to keep pushing, and as the sport and driving gets better, it still keeps me motivated to stay in, to see if I can hold on with the guys that are coming up to the ranks.
About this young driver, do you have someone in your mind?
No one in my mind right now, because I'm not close enough to retiring.
Okay.
But when the time comes, I'll be like, if I know that, for example, if I knew this was my last year, I would definitely be having my eye on somebody.
I want to say thank you for this lovely trip around your garage. It's a really beautiful place, and congrats to you and all your teammates to making this place really good, because this place is good looking, but also it's feelable the really good vibe of this place,
Yeah.
which is, I think, the most important.
Yeah, for sure.
Because in a place like this, it's easier to work, more pleasure, and better ideas going to the head,
Yeah.
which is, I think, the most important. And yeah, I will thank you for having me here. I wish
pleasure.
you all the best for 2026 season, and
Yeah.
I can't wait to see almost 1200 horsepower Mustang on these master trucks.
Yeah, I'm excited too, and you're welcome anytime.
Thank you very much, my
And
man.
I hope you all enjoyed the video. Keep supporting Dominic. He's a great man, great friend, know him a long time. Lots of stories behind the scenes that maybe
yes.
he can never share.
Oh yes.
But no, always a pleasure.
Thank you very much, James. Thank you very much. And yeah, see you as soon as possible.
See you all soon. Take care.
As you hear, James Deane did everything he could from a very young age to be exactly where he is today. He wasn't afraid of taking risks. He borrowed money just to take another step toward his dream. And all of that before he even turned 18. Would you be ready to take that kind of risk to make your dreams come true? If you want to stay up to date with the newest stories from the best drifters in the world, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I'm constantly working on new content and uploading regularly. If you enjoy what I do, subscribe with notification bell turned on, so you don't miss a single story. Hit the like button and let me know in the comments what you think about this episode and who you like to see next. You can also support my work by clicking the join button. It helps me create even more and even better stories for you. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next episode, and remember, one drifting, one love. Love you guys. Take care. Bye bye.